The Millionaire Beggar, a true story about attitude and change. In the heart of New York City, near a subway entrance on 34th Street, sat a man named David Miller. Every morning, rain or shine, David positioned himself against the cold concrete wall, a cardboard sign beside him that read, "Homeless. Hungry. Please help." He had been there for nearly 5 years. Most people passed by without a glance, their eyes glued to their phones or the ground. A few dropped coins into his cup, sometimes a dollar bill. David always said, "God bless you," but inside, he felt empty. He hadn't always been like this. Once, David had a job at a small construction company. He had a family, a wife, Anna, and a little boy named Ethan. But after a severe injury on site and a series of medical bills, life spiraled out of control. When the company let him go, he fell into depression, started drinking, and eventually lost everything. Now, at 47, he felt invisible, just another forgotten man in a world that moved too fast. One cold November afternoon, as the sky turned gray, an older man in a navy blue coat stopped in front of David. He was well dressed, with kind eyes and a calm smile. "Good afternoon," the man said. "You've been sitting here for a long time, haven't you?" David looked up, suspicious. "Yeah. Got nowhere else to go." The old man nodded. "Tell me, what do you think about all day while you sit here?" David shrugged. "I think about how unfair life is. Some people have everything, and others like me, well, we've got nothing." The man smiled slightly. "Nothing? You have eyes, hands, a voice, a brain, don't you?" David frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," the man said softly, "that maybe you're not poor, just pointed in the wrong direction. You're seeing only one side of life. But every coin has two sides. That's called the law of polarity. If there's failure, there's success. If there's darkness, there must be light. If you're at the bottom, there's always an opposite, the top. You just need to turn around." David stared at him. The man pulled out a business card and handed it over. It read, "Jonathan Reed, Motivational Coach Speaker Life Transformation Consultant. Come to this address tomorrow morning," Jonathan said. "You've got potential, if you're willing to see it." And just like that, the man walked away. That night, David barely slept. Something in the old man's voice had stirred him. The next morning, for the first time in years, he didn't sit by the subway. Instead, he cleaned himself up as best he could, wore his least dirty clothes, and took a bus, after borrowing fare from another homeless man, to the address on the card. It was a community center. When he arrived, Jonathan greeted him warmly. "Good to see you kept your word," he said. Jonathan introduced David to a group of people, all from different backgrounds, but each had one thing in common: they were rebuilding their lives. Over coffee, Jonathan asked, "Tell me one thing you're good at." David hesitated. "I used to be good with my hands, fixing things, building small stuff. I worked construction." Jonathan smiled. "Perfect. Then we'll start there." For the next few months, David attended workshops, learned basic business skills, and even volunteered to repair broken furniture for the community center. Slowly, he began to rebuild his confidence. Jonathan often repeated, "You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So become the kind of person who deserves what you dream of." David took that seriously. He stopped drinking. He started waking up early, journaling his thoughts, and setting goals, small ones at first. Within a year, he saved enough money from odd jobs to rent a small room in Brooklyn. He started a repair service called Handy Hearts, offering affordable home repairs for seniors and low-income families. People trusted him because he worked with honesty and heart. Soon, word spread. 2 years later, Handy Hearts wasn't just one man, it was a team of 6. David had employees, clients, and stability. One day, he received an email from a local real estate developer asking if he could manage maintenance for several apartment buildings. That deal changed everything. By year 5, Handy Hearts Maintenance Company had expanded to multiple neighborhoods. David now had an office, a website, and a staff of 40 people. And every morning, when he looked in the mirror, he whispered the same words Jonathan once told him. Every failure has its opposite, every dark has its light. One crisp winter morning, David walked back to the same subway where he used to sit. The cold wind felt familiar, almost nostalgic. He saw a young man sitting on the ground, shivering, with a cardboard sign. Homeless. Please help. David approached him slowly, crouched down, and asked gently, "What's your name?" "Jake," the young man mumbled. David smiled. "Jake, tell me, what do you think about all day while you sit here?" Jake shrugged. "I think about how unfair life is." David chuckled softly. "Funny, someone once told me the same thing. But they also told me about something called the law of polarity. It means you can flip your life upside down, if you start changing how you think." Jake looked up, curious. "You really believe that?" David handed him a business card. "I don't just believe it, I lived it." It read, "David Miller, founder and CEO, Handy Hearts Maintenance Company. Come to this address tomorrow morning," David said, smiling. "Let's build something new." That evening, David sat in his office and thought about the journey. From a beggar on the street to a business owner, not because of luck, but because of a shift in attitude. He finally understood what Jonathan meant. The outside world changes only when your inside world does. Moral of the story. Life will always present two sides, joy and sorrow, success and failure, comfort and pain. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. Change your attitude, and you change your reality.